Just want to shout out some amazing people who showed support for this and inspired me to sort of start this before the video starts. So their names up and out, and thank you so much for giving me inspiration to actually do this. Thank you. So before we even get into the video, I just want to introduce this a little. This is just a simple chapter review, talking a little bit on chapter 57, the most recent chapter to come out, some of my thoughts, some of the thoughts I've seen online, some of my own opinions, and I hope you guys can enjoy this. I was super nervous, and I recorded the audio on 2 different days, so if it sounds a bit jank, that's why. I really apologise for it, but please bear with me. I'm recording this with Apple wired headphones on my phone and making this with CapCut. So please forgive any stupid mistakes, any quality issues, and enjoy! So, the chapter starts with Hiruhiko's paper butterflies, which look really cool, lifting Kumayuri through the air. Somehow when I was first reading the chapter, I didn't even clock this. I don't know what I was doing. I was just reading it too quickly. Didn't notice. You can also see some of the blobs of Kuro that are left over from a couple chapters ago when they first fought. Also, Chihiro cut Hiruhiko's arms off. This had me fucking crying. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? What? Like, I just noticed it and I was like, damn, he cut his arms off. Like, oh my god. Samura. My goat. A man I admired. A man I respected. Here we see the aftermath of Crow, pretty much directly after we saw it in the last chapter, and this is fucking insane. Just, like, look at how many dead people there are. Look at all the feathers left over. Look at how cold he is, just stood there, you know, like he's there, he's just finished it. This is an insane level of destruction. And also, just, like, look how many people it took out. One move took out all these people. An issue that's starting to crop up, and I expect will come up more, especially looking at the motivations of some of the things Samura's done later in the chapter, is the power of the enchanted blades and who uses them specifically. I'll talk more on this later, but Samura is someone who's clearly disillusioned with the view that the sword bearers are heroes, and if we go back to a few chapters ago, he's talking about how he's going to hell and all, whatever else. That was a goat at work, my brother. Bootleg Levi Ackerman clarifies how much of a goat Samura is, and Samura is already onto Hatshaku. Again, just look at the fallout after Crow. From what I can see, there's over 10 people dead just in that middle panel. This is an insane level of destruction, and we're bringing attention back to that one panel that people always bring up, of like that literal nuke going through the air. Who the fuck was that? Because this is like feathers, right? And that's doing this much. Who the fuck was rocking about with fucking Fat Man in their back fucking pocket? What the fuck? Who was rocking about with WMDs? Okay, like what? What is going on here? So, here's Hatshaku himself. I wonder if I'm in trouble. Obviously, you absolute fucking fraud. And he knows it too. Teleported the fuck out of there pronto. Was not wasting any time. He was gone. Samura's annoyed he didn't get to cook Hatshaku. His clone apologises to him, and then I presume Samuro is talking about Hakuri here. Not actually sure. But please correct me if I'm wrong though. And speaking of this next panel, who's that in the back? Yoga! Oh, I'm in mourning. It's not even funny. Just, I'll speak more on this later. And Hakuri, my goat, who's always the MVP of stepping up when it counts, is still trying to carry on. Saying you'll get Kumayuri too, like you are dying right now. You are cooked. Have a lie down. I feel like I've got one more in me. You're not gonna feel a fucking lot in a minute. Your ass is going to black the fuck out. On the next page, we're told Hakuri's absolutely off his face on adrenaline, running on fumes at this point, and the unnamed Makizumi woman, I don't know what she's called. I tried to look if she had a name. I don't think she does. If I'm wrong about this, apologies, but I'm just going to call her Maki for the sake of it. So she tells him to pack it in. The Hishaku forces are depleted, so to speak, I was like, what the fuck? No. Apparently they're depleted. Because Samura has Toby Mune back, taking the other enchanted blades back will be easy. And Samura says the Makizumi are fired, like he did earlier, before asking if everyone's okay. So it seems between this page and the third one, a piece of the roof must have fell onto Hura, because he was sat there perfectly fine before going. What was that? So, yeah. Yoga asks if he has family, but I don't think his sister is anyone we know. At least, yeah, I can't think of any 14-year-old girls running around. So, Samura remembers a conversation between him and Yoga last chapter, talking on how being a sword bearer is intrinsically linked to master structure. Glasses are back on too. On to the next page, and Maki says he dies doing his job, essentially, and comments how this win is a pivotal moment, which Samura then disagrees with, saying this is the start. Start of what? My brother? Start of what? And then we get the chapter title here to Collapse. Collapse of what? Collapse of what? Hirohiko telepathically knows they got the Toby Mune, apparently, and Chihiro's thinking about his boyfriend, and then Butterfly Boy remarks how it just changes the path, the destination stays the same. Alright, All For One, we know it's you, pack it up, get back to MHA. Paul No Arm Hishaku, I can't actually remember if that was his joke name, but he's Paul now, says they'll kill the Shinichi wielder, and John Hishaku will then use it. Chihiro lets out a bit of waffle, and here comes the prominent theme for the rest of the arc. You have to protect those heroes. Next page, Hirohiko explains why Yura called Chihiro green, and then brings up Skull. Oh, alright mate, get back there. However, this is probably actually focusing on how skulls will most of the time teach one tiny bit of reality, sometimes painting an incorrect picture of the truth. As Hirohiko explains how they teach the sword bearers to be heroes, and considering what comes later in the chapter, and from the amount it's been talked about, and as I mentioned previously, how it's probably going to be the main sort of theme and moral question of the arc. It's questioning really the reality of whether or not these people were heroes. And from the way they talk about that goddamn Shinichi wielder, I don't think he in the least is a hero. Hirohiko continues about Rokuhiro and the sword bearers and how their acts led to peace in the country. And here we go about the Shinichi fiend. Like, who the fuck actually is this guy? Chihiro states that Kinishiga himself couldn't even speak about the Shinichi wielder. Like, what the actual fuck did this guy get up to? Is this Virgil? Is the Shinichi actually the Yamato? What the fuck went on so that this man can't even tell his child anything about this man? He says he has to learn about him through history books, not even his dad who was fighting alongside him and made a sword for him. Paperboy continues with waffle about the Shinichi, saying how Chihiro saw its power at the Rakuzaichi. And here we see that even Chihiro has grown to doubt whether the enchanted blades are actually heroic. Can the means justify the ends? Chihiro continues by saying that he thought they kept the Shinichi wielder fucking locked up like Saejima, and the reason his dad said we can't let anyone use it ever again was because it was the Shinichi himself that was so terrifyingly powerful. However, he then goes on to say that when Kyora, get this bomb off my fucking screen, wielded it, he felt someone else. And you also see Kyora in a couple of panels say this as well, when he's using it, so like, it feels like someone inside my head, like, get on my head, like, whatever the fuck it was saying. So, like, who is this fucking guy? Chihiro wonders if it wasn't that the Shinichi was out of control, but the Swordmaster himself. Chihiro also believes that his dad was hiding something much more important, something you wouldn't tell a child, which is just sirens. That's a massive fucking red flag. If you can't tell your son, either out of guilt or out of just the atrocities he's committed, about your mate, someone you made swords for, that's a worrying. That's a fucking worrying fucking sign. He then asks if Hirohiko is saying that the Shinichi wielder isn't a hero who should be protected. Think of the other sword bearers, right? Samura and Yogurt were both in temples. Yogurt had like hot springs and shit, and Samura had the massive statue of like a Buddha. This Shinichi guy is sat on a concrete floor in the middle of the room doing absolutely fuck all every time we see it. And he's got black eyes. His actual eyes are black. And this seems to be a theme of the Shinichi. Like, you saw it when Samurai used it. It, like, almost looks like ink. I don't know what it is. Considering the colouring of mangas, how black is usually because they're black and white, it's used to show blood, it could be blood. I don't know. But as far as we're concerned, it, like, looks like ink or something. There's clearly something wrong here. Because either with him himself, which is very likely considering how he's spoken about, or he's being treated very differently from the rest of the sword bearers. We don't know what the other two, who we're yet to meet, are like where they're staying, but you can assume they're in temples too. This man sat in a room on his own, and it gives me the impression less of a place he's hidden, and maybe more almost like a prison. And I'm not saying they've put him in there to put him in prison, like he's literally been jailed, because obviously he's being protected, and he's probably one of the most important to be protected because of the Shinichi, and it's already had shit done to him. It's been taken already. But it almost does seem like that, like how vastly different he's treated compared to the others. It's telling me that there is something going on here, and obviously we don't know if this is self-inflicted. Obviously we've never met the guy. We don't know anything about him. So it's just interesting is all. Now, this is where my heart stopped. I had to reread this a couple of times before it actually clicked in my head what was actually being said. Because, like, picture this. I'm there, Sunday the 10th of November 2024. Death Stranding dropped randomly on Xbox 3 days before that. So I'm like, oh yeah, wanted to play this for ages and it's finally on Xbox. So I'm playing now, the start of the game. I check my phone. See, it's like 20 past 3. I'm like, sweet, Kagurabachi's going to be out. So I check it, you know, the app's not loading, so I'm a bit like, oh, okay, whatever. So then, wait a bit, comes back. Then I'm reading this chapter, minding my business. Death Stranding's like on in the background, and I'm sort of like, I'm not skimming, but I'm reading it quickly. So like, I'm not paying 100% attention to what's being said, right? So I'm reading this and I'm like, wait, and I actually remember doing a double take and being like, what the fuck? And I read these words. Samura made a pact with Yora, John Hishaku, John Hishaku, 3 years ago. Samura, my goat, my glorious, no-eyed king, is the traitor. Something I thought I never, ever say. Just, there's talk of Azami, there's talk of whoever else fucking knows, okay? I'm not even onto that Azami traitor theory, right? And I read these words, it was like the earth and heavens colliding, okay? It was a mass extinction event. This must be how the dinosaurs felt when they saw that goddamn meteor up in the sky, if they felt anything at all. Just, oh god. But despite what I was chatting on Twitter, which was a lot, I doubt Samura had anything like major to do with Kunishige's death. It's very likely he was complicit in it and was fucking like, yeah, for whatever reasons, I suspect this is some sort of moral thing, and it's a bit confusing considering Samura's a guy who blinded himself to get rid of worldly desires, to not be able to pay attention to them, and then he's either going on some weird revenge guilt trip, like guilt-fueled, I don't even know, like campaign against the sword bearers, saying how they deserve to die and shit. So, I don't really know. I really don't know. But I know some people have picked up, like, with Samura's samurai armour, and then there appears to be a member of the Hishaku who's in samurai armour, so who really knows? But, like, personally, at this moment, I don't think he was there cheering for $50 in a lighter, despite the fact he has a lighter. The contracted sword bearers should die. Chihiro just breaks my heart here. The look in his eyes of pure sorrow, I just feel so horrible for him. Hirohiko continues time wasting here, waffling on about a deathmatch. And I know I was chatting shit on Twitter, But, like, consider this. All war's horrific, like, that's a given. It's war. There were 5 other sword bearers alongside Samura in the Seitei War, so including Rokuhira. And earlier this chapter we saw Samura kill like 10 plus people with one move. That's gonna be 100 times worse in war. So what the actual fuck was that Shinichi wielder doing in order for Rokuhira to not even be able to speak about it? For Samura to do this. Think about how many people are going to have died in the Seitei War, how many people the sword bearers probably killed. How horrific were the actions of the Shinichi wielder for him to earn a legacy like this? To earn Samura betraying another one of the sword bearers, possibly even Rokuhira himself, just to put a stop to him. And it might not even happen. As far as we know, Samura could have made this pact with Yura, and Yura, fucking Johnny Shaku, could turn around and just kill him and take Tobimune. As far as we know. Like, Samura could be getting played here completely if he's not got an ulterior motive, and let's say he is just doing this for the 2D reason of guilt and thinking the sword bearer should die. The next page is a short one, just an action page. Here we see the Kume Yuri getting dropped through the hole in the ceiling by Hirohiko's paper butterflies and landing on the stage. This distracts Chihiro, allowing Hirohiko to catch him off guard. This fucking guy. This guy bites his severed arm, picks it up with his teeth, and launches it at Chihiro while Chihiro jumps backwards. What? I was reading this and then I reread it and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Some shit gets fired at him, as in Chihiro, from outside, and then he turns around to look at Hirohiko, and there's that Kumayuri on the stage and someone standing next to it. This page, oh my days. I think this is probably one of my favourite pages in the manga so far. Oh my god. Here we can see Hirohiko's paper sorcery being forfeited, so going from the paper butterflies that we saw previously carrying the Kume Yuri to just being crumpled pieces of paper as Hirohiko forfeits his sorcery. You can see that realisation in Chihiro's eyes, just as he's looking at the scene and realising what's happening as Hirohiko's pulling the Kume Yuri out of its sheath, like he's MGS4 Raiden. I just love this panel, and I love the sword design in this series. Like, I'm a real sucker for it, and it looks incredible. Oh, if only we'd been able to see Yogurt using his 2 lesbians. I mean, it is called the Kume Yuri, I suppose, but I do love a good double panel, and Hokusono never, and I mean never, fails to deliver on a gorgeous double panel. The paper floating down in the air solidifies Hirohiko forfeiting his sorcery, which means something for Yogurt. It doesn't mean he's dead, because Kyora was using the Shinichi, and that Shinichi guy's still around, that's why this shit's going on. Yogurt's not dead, guys. Hokusono told me he's living. He's definitely living. And also, that panel in the top left of Yogurt himself is a callback of when he was saying, "You got it." And then Chihiro's face. There's also little blobs of Kuro, so it seems Kuro's making a return here. And we could be in for a really good fight next chapter and the start of one. Or a bit of exposition, who really knows. Right, and I'm going to make a confession here. You know why I liked Yogurt so much? Because he reminded me of Choso. Okay, Choso was my second favourite JJK character. So this felt like a mixture of 236 and 259 of JJK all over again. The 5 stages of grief would not be enough, okay? I lost Choso. I thought I'd be safe with Yogurt, okay? Do you know when this fucker was introduced? You know when Yogurt was introduced to, not 247, 47. 10 chapters ago. I've had him for 10 chapters. 10 chapters and he's already gone. I thought I was safe. He reminded me of Choso. I was like, sweet, this guy's my new thing. He's great. And now he's gone. Potentially. I've not lost hope. Just, he's coming back. He's coming back, you know. Just, yeah. And also, like, just speaking more on it. Like, I need to know how much of a menace this Shinichi wielder is. In order for Samura to potentially have killed Yogurt. Oh, it gets worse every time I say it. And betray Chiro, to betray all of them, Shiba or whatever. If Samura is willing to sacrifice all of these people, what the fuck was he up to? Obviously we're going to have to wait until next week to find out what's actually going on here. But there better be a good fucking reason for it, because I swear to God, if I open that app and I see a double page thread of you, JJK236 I might end it. I seriously might. Anyways, that is the end of this chapter review. If you enjoyed this, like, please let me know. This took way longer than I thought it would. It was like 2 days of recording the audio on its own, but I don't mind. I'm doing this for my own enjoyment as much as I am for other people. I love Kagurabachi. I want to talk about it more. I want to interact with more people about it, you know. I love this series and I want to spread that love I have for it. So, if you want me to do more chapters, I'm definitely going to do 58 coming out on Sunday. But if you want me to go back and do older chapters, do reviews of them, talk about other things, then I totally will. So, I really hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed making it too. And that's all I've really got to say. So, thank you so much for watching. And please let me know if you liked it.